Welcome to JIBRIN Angle on Owoleke TV. My name is JIBRIN, and this is my angle. Once again, Barrister Manta, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you. It's my pleasure to be here.
All right, viewers, for those of you who don't know Barrister Manta, in case this is your first time of joining us, Barrister Manta is a very, very senior legal practitioner. When I say senior, you mean 40, someone that is in a particularly specific profession for over 40 years. You understand what that means? I would rather, in fact, if there's anything that is beyond senior, I think that is what he should be ascribed to. All right, Barrister, let's go into, because we have a lot to discuss today within a very short time. So let's just go into the nitty-gritty of what we have. We have topics, about 5 or 6 or more topics to talk about. Now let's begin with what happened earlier in the week. The news that came up, I think, was it on Monday? U.S. court orders FBI, DEA, to release investigative files on Tinubu over 1990s drug probe. This is it's something that has been online, so I don't want to go into reading, taking our time to read through. Viewers, for those of you who probably may be interested in reading or whatever, go on Sahara Reporters. I think that's where that's where I got the first breaking news, sort of. So you can read it there. Barrister, I don't know, you are familiar with this, with the news, and familiar with the entire story, this Tinubu saga. My question is, when I read this, I said, why didn't this come out during what's his name, Joe Biden's era, when he was when he was the president? We all probably, of course, you and I are on the same page on this. Probably, and I probably will know the reason, what you will say about the answer you will give on this. But my question is, why now? Is it the case of Buhari? Because Tinubu, I mean, because I read somewhere and somebody was saying that Donald Trump is probably Donald Trump government is coming after Tinubu, or America as an institution is coming after Tinubu because probably Tinubu has reneged or is not playing ball. It's not has lost. Probably not ready to be controlled by the current government or whatever. And when I read it, I said, is this person who wrote this out of his mind? But what do you think? It is a case of not playing ball with the current U.S. president or current U.S. government, or the case of the current government actually wanting to do the right thing as part a government that is exposing corruption, including within the United States?
Well, I will not see it in either light. I just see it as the continuing litigation on the issue. Recall that this case has been ongoing for a while, both before the election of 2023 and it continued after the election. At one point, when we discussed this issue on your show, it was the point at which all the security organizations of the U.S. had responded to the court. And that time we talked about the Gloma defense, which they submitted to the court then. Now, what remained was that the submission of the Gloma defense is not absolute. The court will still interrogate the genuineness and efficacy of that Gloma response by the security agencies. So this is what we see unraveling. The court has considered whether this Gloma response that the security agencies, the FBI, the DEA, the CIA, and the rest, IRS, have all properly entered the Gloma response. In the case of the CIA, the court has virtually exonerated them has confirmed that yes, the Gloma response is valid because the person who came to court never showed that CIA at any point in time acknowledged investigating Tinubu. So the court gave the Gloma response by the CIA a tick. So they are off the radar. The rest of the agencies, though, some of them submitted reports, which is in the public domain, which for most of us was not adequate. The court has said, okay, go back and check further, score off your records if there are further things that you are going to respond to. So I see it as the conclusion of the case that started way back before the 2023 elections.
All right. So you don't think that government can slow down, can slow walk a litigation in court? Don't you think so?
No,
That yes, okay, it's actually it's a court process, but don't you think that the government can have a hand? If a government is interested in a case, they may choose to actually have a hand in how the process, how slow or how fast the process could be.
definitely not even the government, the parties themselves. One party that does not want the matter to conclude speedily also has, within the rules of court, has a wide ambit to cause delay in the case. And you can see Tinubu's lawyers had filed application after application for purposes of delaying the litigation before the election took place. So if the parties can do it, the government, which has greater resources and which is in a better position, can equally slow down such litigation.
And you don't.
Now the question.
Yeah, go ahead.
The question is, as of now, there is not much benefit accruing to that order now as we speak, because it's neither here nor there. For instance, as I said, the CIA have been given a clean bill. They are not required to do anything anymore because the court has justified their global response. The FBI, the IRS, the DEA are the ones now being told to go back and score your records and see if you can bring further evidence, because some of them have released what they claim to have in their records, which is already in the public domain. That was after the election. They released some documents which was still redacted. Some even within the documents they released, in some places were still redacted. So names of people and other things were cleaned up so that we could not get the full gist. And the report itself was very unsatisfactory. Up to this moment, nobody has come up and said, look, we carried out a comprehensive investigation of this man, and this is the report. So by and large, whether then or now, the court process has been very unsatisfactory. It has not achieved what we wanted in Nigeria to see. That is to open up, whether there had been an investigation, to open up the entire files in clear this thing. Let's see what the investigation was, what extent, to what extent it went. Up to today, we are not able to see that type of thing we wanted to see in Nigeria.
Yeah, don't you think that what you just mentioned now could be as a result of the legal team, the prosecuting team, that probably they are not doing their job well? Because judges, usually judges, they make decisions based on what is before them, what was presented to them. So don't you think that whatever it is, however, if we are not seeing the basic thing that everybody wants to see, or hearing the basic thing, getting this basic substance that we all crave to get from this, the problem could be from the prosecuting lawyers.
Like I said, sometimes the court's hands are tied because some defenses are statutory. The law will say, in case of this thing, if you bring this thing out, that will constitute a defense. Now, in this case, all the security agencies entered what we say is a global response, and I think we discussed it before
Yes.
on your show, where the agency will come and say we can neither confirm nor affirm that we investigated such an entity. And there is about 7 reasons they will give, one of which is that the person is our asset, or let's say in
Yeah.
ordinary language, our spy.
Yeah.
So we don't want to expose such a person. And I remember, I think the sixth and seventh reason for the global response was what the FBI came up with when they entered the global response. And under those 6 and 7, that is where I mentioned before that it is an issue of saying, oh, this person is our asset, so we don't want to expose him. That is the
Yeah.
seventh part of that global response, and that was the 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 section they came under when they fired the global response, and we were raising head. Is this man, was he an asset of the FBI or the security agencies of the US? Now we left that thing at that. There was no further interrogation of that issue because there's no way we can go forward. Now it remained for the court to interrogate that global response and agree or disagree with it. Now, this is what has happened last week or this week, so to speak. The court has interrogated the global response. They have told the CIA to go. They are satisfied with their response because the plaintiffs have not shown that if CIA has at any point in time agreed that they carried out such an investigation.
All
In
right.
respect of the FBI and the other agencies, the court say, go back. You have said you have released some information, but please go back and check again. If there's any outstanding information which you have not released, bring it out into the public.
All right. In my opinion, it doesn't even matter either way. Even if anything, I don't know what's your thought on that. That's my opinion. What do you think? Let's even assume this whole Tinubu dossier. We all know the reality, truth, even though court has not actually opened. We all, whatever we have, we all that is in the public domain. There are documents that proved that actually he did this, he did that. He was either his credential, academic credential at the University of Chicago or Chicago State University, and or the drug stuff. All those things are there in the public domain. But the truth is, in reality, the facts have not, the court have not allowed the fact to come out to the public. So if these facts, even if these facts comes out, do you think that it has any iota of oxygen to jeopardize Tinubu's presidency, either as a sitting president or a contesting president for the second term?
I don't think, in terms of legal, in terms of leading to his disqualification, it's not possible because the emphasis of the Constitution is on conviction, a criminal conviction. There is no conviction of his person. There was a civil forfeiture of money belonging to criminal or arising from criminal networking.
What about the documents, the credential for the certificate for Chicago State University?
I'm coming to that. First of all, let's take the conviction. Assuming today there is a report either by FBI, by IRS, or whatever agency, the DAE, a very clear report
DEA.
indicting Tinubu for drug peddling and other issues. Still, the fact that he had not been convicted for such an offense will not in law be something that will prevent him from disqualify him from continuing or running again for president. But if there are issues relating with his certificate, remember, this election of 2023 has come and gone. Now, if a new evidence has come up, when he is going to contest in 2027, he's going to fill fresh INEC forms.
Oh, really?
Those are the forms, yes, those are the forms and the information in them that will be relevant for that particular election. This one has already gone. When you come to contest again in 2027, it is as if you are a candidate. So you are going to fill your biodata, your information afresh in a new form for that particular election. If he fills the same information he filled before, and the new evidence that come from this code, it can be a different issue. But of course, if a report should come up now, he will be wise to now know how to go about his.
Even if the report doesn't come out now, Seth, I think with what is going on now, definitely based on his experience in 2023, because if he had known that it will generate such kind of dust,
to avoid any further
yeah,
argument,
of course, you will just feel correct. Just send a school certificate or whatever, or WAEC result or thereabout.
But assuming there was a clear report indicting him for drug peddling, while it may not disqualify him legally, it will constitute a serious impediment to his running in 2027.
Does Tinubu care?
He may not care.
Yeah.
He may not care, but the fuse that will be generated by such indictment, coupled with the current U.S. government and the international community, it will make it very difficult for him to
global pressure from the U.S. maybe, yes,
to go ahead and contest in 2027.
Especially dealing with somebody like Donald Trump
exactly. That's what I'm driving at.
Yeah, okay, yeah, you are right, because somebody like Donald Trump will not want to have anything to do with a president that has.
I mean, if even the election of Tinubu shows you how the country has depreciated, how the country has gone down the drain.
Honestly.
Because just yesterday, I think 2 days ago, is already again, coupled with this very court proceeding in the US, the issue of his age has resurfaced because he recently celebrated what he termed his 73rd birthday. And we look back and see Guardian interview when he came back from exile during the Nadeko days. In 1998, Guardian interviewed him and he said he was 52 years.
Woo!
The interview has been brought up in Guardian newspaper of 1998, where he said he was 52. So if you just do an arithmetic, from that time to now, he will be 79. If at that time, that is assuming correctly, he was 52, as he himself stated in the interview, he will still be 79, but he's claiming to be celebrating 73 years old today. And talk that his own daughter is 63.
Yeah, that's another problem. Honestly, I don't even know why that man is. Honestly, that's just crazy. It doesn't make sense.
So if you look at, there is nothing transparent about this man.
The man, everything about him is just shrouded in obscurity.
Transparent, nothing. Honestly. From his age, his educational qualification, the family he belongs to, the money he made. There is nothing about this man that is not shrouded in.
I don't know. Does he have siblings? Have you heard of his siblings?
It was said that he claims to be from the Tinubu family in Lagos, but a lot of his contemporaries have sworn that he's from Osun State. Yes. He just attached himself that some people say the son of Tinubu family, Alhaji Bibat, picked him up almost like an orphan and adopted him in the Tinubu family. These former Nadeko officials stated at a point that when Tinubu was governor and his real biological mother died, he had to send them secretly to go and attend the burial in Osun State
Wow.
because he could not go because he had already said he's a Tinubu in Lagos. So he sent them. He wrote that in a long letter, which I had at a point. He sent them to go to Osun to attend the mother's burial. So there is a credible information that is from Osun State. But nobody has come up and said, I'm Tinubu's brother, I'm his sister.
Oh, wow. This man, I don't get it. But what kind of mysteries is this? Sometimes I don't wonder, how is it possible, for God's sake? This man grew up, nobody, no association, nobody, no classmates, no schoolmates, no neighbor. I don't get it. Where did this man come from? Where, at least, nobody knows his. I don't get it. This is strange. The strangest thing I've ever heard of. Honestly, it is unbelievable. At 80 something years, this man does not have a foundation that people recognizes. Honestly, it is so sad. So sad anyway. Honestly, even as it is, forget that the real evidence have not come out to the limelight. The reality is that the government, US government, knows the truth. They have the documents, they have the record, they know the truth. So if they know the truth, someone like Donald Trump already definitely knows the truth. I bet you this will be an impediment for him, for Tinubu's re-election. Should what happened, because if Donald Trump had been the president during that 2023 election, I bet you Tinubu wouldn't have, the US wouldn't have accepted that election. They wouldn't have accepted that election. So if the same thing happens, even though I have almost zero confidence in INEC actually doing the right thing come 2027, because I just believe INEC is already is a leopard that will never lose its spots. So that is just the reality. But if 2027, if the same thing, if anyway, my problem is I doubt if people will really have faith in the system to the extent of actually coming out massively, just like they did in 2023 election or whatever. So time will tell anyway. But if such scenario happens again, obviously someone like Donald Trump's government will never ever be on the side of. And I think that will be the reason why Tinubu will work so assiduously, so hard to make sure the election is credible and he's elected the right way. Even if there is rigging, probably try not to make it look obvious, sort of. Otherwise, because if honestly, if US is against an election, rest assured that pressure, they can't do anything, because Nigeria is an entity. It's a sovereign nation. There's nothing they can do legally or anything in any way. But behind the scene, there are pressures, diplomatic pressures left, right, and center that they can actually exert to push their interest, sort of. So anyway, um, my last question on this: do you see someone like maybe the present government of Donald Trump having to a kind of interfere either in a discreet manner behind the scene when it comes to 2027 election, bearing in mind that of course Donald Trump already knows who Tinubu is. He knows he's a criminal. There's no doubt. Like I said, they have their record. Do you see him supporting, or rather, not really supporting, but do you see him actually condoning someone like Tinubu after 2027 or come
Well,
2027?
much as I am a very strong supporter of Donald Trump, I also know that at the end of it, it is the interest of America that will determine whether he will support Tinubu or not. That is a given. That is something that whoever becomes the president, whether the Democrat or the Republican, is usually, at the end of the day, it is
America's
what
interest.
America will get that will determine whether he will support Tinubu or not. And with what is going on now, the global economic war, the tariffs, and other things that are happening now, you can situate his support for Tinubu within, they have increased 14% tariff for Nigeria, for
Yeah.
Nigerian goods. So countries are rushing to negotiate with the US. As at yesterday, I heard over 50 countries have indicated, and more are indicating that they want to come and sort out. The EU, for instance, have proposed zero tariffs, to return to zero tariffs. So it will depend on what will happen,
Yeah,
the
America's
approach that
interest.
the government will go. If it will benefit the US, if it will fit into the global war on the side of Trump, on the side of the present government in America, I don't see them seriously trying to undermine the government
Yeah,
of Tinubu.
I agree with you in that because just like you said, whoever is regardless of who is the president, America's interest comes forth. But the truth is, not totally. When it comes to Democrats, especially during this, it was worse during Biden's president. The Biden's presidency, honestly, based on what has been revealed so far, all the things that Dodge has revealed, has unraveled so far, you understand that so many things were done to the detriment of U.S. interests. That's the point. Many things on that during the 4 years of Biden, many of the things they did globally were done based on personal interest, not national interest. So, person like Donald Trump is obviously is the one that is going to actually project the national interest. I agree with you. If it doesn't benefit U.S. as a sovereign nation, they will probably not want to do anything about it or whatever. If Tinubu will be beneficial for the U.S. interest, they will probably want to support him. Otherwise, they will not. Sort of, but not all democratic governments like that, especially that of Biden. We all know
And
we have had all the dirty stuff that happened under his nose, and some of them say not all of them, but so many significant number of the corruption has been there for some of them, like this USAID. It's been there for the corruption there has been there for about 40-50 years. Including
exactly.
Obama's mother did the same, or worked in that same agency, and all of them partook in this same corruption. So that is just, and everything there, or most of the things there, were just done against the US, against detrimental to the US interest.
Just like I was saying, this economic war that is going on, apart from the tariffs, the BRICS, the issue of countries trying to dump the dollar. That is
Yes,
another aspect of it.
yeah,
Nigeria has been angling. There is voices within Nigeria to join the BRICS, the BRICS countries, and dump the dollar. Those are the things. And during campaign by Donald Trump, he was very, very vociferous that any country that
that does that.
attempts to
Yes,
dump the dollar,
yes,
US will go the whole hog
of
to
course.
deal with the country. And small countries like Nigeria, and with our dependence on US and other things, if Tinubu or Nigeria will as much as rear its head and say we want to align with the BRIC nations, that will automatically be
They may not. Let me tell you
what
one
you-
thing. They may not even want, even if they don't. But someone, an opposition comes and actually gives assurance to the U.S. president, U.S. Government that look, we are solidly behind dollar and whatever. They may choose to support that person against, because the thing is, you just weigh both sides. Even if Tinubu, the current government, said, okay, we are going to support, we are still with the dollar 100% or whatever. But you see that, okay, this man is a criminal. His background, everything about him is just shrouded in crime. And you see the second option, the opposition is a credible person who is genuine, just like someone like, let's even assume like Peter Obi. Someone like Peter Obi now, he has a very clean background, like everything, clean record and everything. He assures US, okay, I'm going to protect your interests with regard to your currency. I bet you someone like Donald Trump's government, they would rather choose to support the opposition, because Donald Trump naturally do not. If you have been following his public utterances, his press statements, you understand how much he loathes, he detests corrupt leaders. That's just it. And corrupt countries. He has been so vociferous on corrupt leaders and countries for a very long time. So I don't think someone like Donald Trump would want to support so, except just like you said, for national interest. That is if that is the only option that he has. Because if there are other options, he will not do that.